Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. Now, the content that I'm going to show you this morning is all around North Carolina and how the Republicans, the GOP, are trying to repeal a Jim Crow era gun control measure from the early 1900s in the South, and the Democrats are rallying against it, and they're still going to lose. Everything will be linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to share with you guys on this one and hear what you guys think. Now, if you are a new or returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, making sure you subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. We need as many of you as possible to get into the fold, in the trenches with us, to pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. Thank you so much in advance for your consideration, and as I mentioned in the introduction, I did not misspeak on any of those terms or parties. There's a rule or a law in North Carolina that says you are required to go to your local sheriff to receive a permit or an approval to even buy a gun. This was instituted in the early 1900s in the South, the Jim Crow era to be specific. You can piece together what this is actually aligning to. The Republicans passed a bill last year in the House and the Senate that said we need to repeal this because this is a terrible law. It doesn't need to be on the books anymore. The Sheriff's Association supported it, law enforcement supported it, but the Democratic governor, Governor Cooper, vetoed it. Well, times have changed a little bit, and now the Republicans and the GOP in North Carolina have Senate veto-proof majorities. They're one short of a governor veto, or rather, a veto of the governor by one seat. They're saying they've got this. This is going to be interesting. Everything is linked, and this is how we get our rights back piece by piece. And again, the Democrats are opposing it. North Carolina lawmaker, confident GOP will be able to pass gun bills previously vetoed by Cooper. This came out earlier this year, but this is important because while it's not being politicized a lot, while it's not being covered a lot, this is a crucial blow to gun control in North Carolina, particularly the terrible history that exists there around this law. But that Democratic governor is keeping it intact. What's that tell you? When Democratic Governor Roy Cooper vetoed a pair of GOP bills in 2021 that sought to loosen existing state gun laws, Republicans didn't try to override his decision because they didn't have the votes. Now, bolstered with larger majorities in the General Assembly than they had a year and a half ago, a top GOP lawmaker who resurrected the bills this week says he believes Republicans will have enough votes to pass both pieces of legislation, even over another likely veto from the governor. So now the governor is going to double down and say, well, we need as many gun control laws as possible, regardless of the history around this individual law. But he's going to veto it again. Well, this time the Republicans have even more juice in the Senate and the General Assembly to override that veto. And while we're hovering around the topic, I can't help but point out the fact that history that goes for gun control or for the left or they seem to be perfectly fine with any type of questionable history in that regard. In this case, a Jim Crow era gun control measure where sheriffs had to dictate who could and could not purchase a Second Amendment right in the state of North Carolina. But then on the other parts of history that they don't like, tear down statues. Make sure you erase everything from history and textbooks. Make sure you can't even speak the name because they were terrible people. Anyone seeing a bit of a juxtaposition? Let's continue because I know it's there, but gotta say it out loud. SB 40, named the Pistol Purchase Permit Repeal, would remove from state law a requirement that anyone buying a handgun in North Carolina first obtain a permit from their local sheriff's office. Again, we're kind of reiterating exactly what it is, but you piece together what that means. Quote, these are, again, issues that have gone through committee. They've been debated. They've been vetted, Britt told the News and Observer. You know, we had the support of the Sheriff's Association on both bills last time. Law enforcement sees the need for us to do this. They support what we're doing here, and I think it's something that we need to get over the finish line. That's from the Senate. This is going to happen in North Carolina. There's also a constitutional carry provision potentially possible through the exact same veto override. But that's the power of putting the right legislators in place and representing you appropriately in your state and local governments. Let's continue because some really great things could be really bad for gun controllers coming pretty soon. Britt pointed out to the past support from multiple Democrats when he said he was confident the newly introduced bills could pass this time by large enough margins in both chambers to survive a likely veto from Cooper. They need to get one Democrat in the General Assembly, and they've already got the Senate locked down. So we've been talking about right when the election happened. That was something we were looking forward to. Making passage of the bills an easier task for Republicans is the fact that the GOP won enough seats in last year's elections to form a veto-proof supermajority on their own in the Senate and came much closer to a supermajority in the House, where they're currently one seat shy. This is why every single one of us vote, because now they can override a Democratic Governor Cooper on this provision. And the last thing I'm going to show you, and then we're going to go about our day, GOP Speaker Tim Moore. The top Republican in the House has repeatedly said there are multiple House Democrats who have indicated they would be willing to vote with Republicans on potential overrides of certain bills. They've already got the Senate. The GOP Speaker is saying Democrats are on board. They've got the law enforcement. They've got the sheriff's office. This is going to happen if there's enough support in North Carolina. This is something to watch and will be a model going forward as we repeal completely superfluous laws from a terrible time in our joint history. That's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.